What's going on, guys? Back at again, another video. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and all that good stuff. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about some things in OCS that will keep you from being public enemy number one and avoid being the most hated, not just in your platoon, in your squad, but the entire company. So stay tuned for more. How things work at OCS, if you don't know, is that you get up to 3 spot reports. So spot reports are pretty much just like infractions that you commit while you're in OCS. It can be making a bed wrong, it could be anything. So you get a thing called a peer evaluation. So you get 3 peer evaluations. If you're at the bottom end of the peer evaluation, you will get a spot report. So remember I said 3 spot reports, 3 evaluations. So if you're at the bottom, you will get recycled to another company. If you get recycled for the same thing twice, you can get kicked out of OCS for any event. It's gonna be company to company dependent. So some companies might heavily enforce it far as the peer evaluation. So for example, if you become last on a peer evaluation the first time, they normally move you to a different squad. And then if you get last on another peer evaluation, they normally send you to another platoon. And then if you're last on that, then you're gonna get kicked out. So some people do it differently, so it's going to vary company to company. So I will monitor that first, but this is very important to help minimize those situations. So the way to be this very hated in OCS is you not mind your business. 100%. You don't mind your business. You gossip too much. That's another issue. Keep that to yourself. Don't button in nobody's business. I'll say another way to be hated is like in your squad. That's who doing the votes in your squads and stuff like that. So if you're not speaking with your squad or anything like that, you're speaking with other people in different platoons or something like that, you're gonna get some resentment. Not because you're gonna be even if you're good, because people will have their little cliques that they rocking with, and even if they have someone weaker, like not as talented, and if it's a vote between them and you, because all you gotta do is be last to get the spot report. You can be second last and be okay. They'll just put you last, and then you end up getting the spot report for no reason. Also, being selfish. If you're a selfish individual, or if you're not even looking out for, like, say you're in a leadership position and you're not looking out for your platoon, like you just letting the other platoon kind of just basically hold y'all out. Like they make commands, you don't fight back. You just say for instance, you got to do weapons detail back-to-back weeks and stuff like that, or you got to do child duty and stuff like that, and you eating last and you not really sticking up for us, then people gonna, as soon as you get off that leadership road and they put peer evaluation, you gonna be at the bottom. You get this, like, also if you were backdooring people, meaning that like asking you for something and you kind of give them the wrong information just so you can they can drop off the email so you can rise in the ranks and stuff like that, you're gonna get very hated like that. The word's gonna spread. People gonna try to set you up for show and make sure that you fail. But this is very important to help minimize those situations. So this is gonna be in 4 categories. The 4 L's to make sure you guys are not public enemy number one. The first one is gonna be don't be late, don't be last, don't be loud, and don't be lost. And those are the big 4. So I'm explaining how they're gonna go. So the first one is pretty obvious. Make sure that you're not late. So pretty much that's what most people are gonna give you the biggest gripe about, far as on the perception end, because you can be on time for instance like 10 days. You can be on time 10 days, but on 2 days you late. And especially when you're coming down formation and stuff like that, and say you living on the 3rd floor of the building, we can see you coming all the way down. There's no elevator, so you gotta take this there. You're gonna see you come down, and then you gonna come down to the main floor, and everybody gonna be looking at you crazy. And like I said, if you just late a couple times, people gonna always go say, "Man, he always late. He always late. Always late," or "She always late." And you don't want that perception. And plus, even if you're not on time, you're still late. So make sure that you kind of understand the company's like philosophy. When I was in Seco, it was like a 5-minute thing. And then in Delta Company, it was 15 minutes, but it wasn't really enforced by the cadre. It was enforced amongst the people in the students. One girl, she was a little weird. She was always saying like 5 minutes, make sure you get there 10 minutes before, because what they was doing gunner times. So gunner times, if you don't know what gunner times are, so say if the formation is at 6, so 5 minutes, you'll be at 5:55. So what they'll do is they have a platoon sergeant they'll gun the time and say, oh, you got to be there 10 minutes. So you have to be there at 6:45. So pretty much 20 minutes before formation starts. So that's what people call gunner times are. So if they're doing gunner time, don't follow that. That's a waste of time. You're gonna be there 30 minutes early for no reason, just sitting there. But make sure you're at least there 5 minutes early without any issues. The next thing is don't be last. Now, You might be like, oh, obviously. But if you're like in the middle of the pack or anything like this, nobody really kind of notice you. You're kind of like just kind of blend in. And also, if you're ahead of the crowd, then that's a good kudos for you. Be first to run, first to finish the test, first to finish everything, cool. But you don't want to be last. And it's not necessarily, I know I said like it's perception, not performance. This is still kind of teetering performance, because more times than not, if you are last at it, you're probably not that good at it. Like say if it's a run or ACFT, you're the last one finished, you're normally not considered a strong run, because it's hard to really, especially in a competitive environment, it's kind of hard to kind of fake it, or kind of like you don't want to really like lag off or be like self-sabotage yourself, especially if you're active duty, where your merit scores, your OML scores matter to where you're going to be far with your branch. So if you see someone last struggling to run, they probably struggling to run for real. They're not faking it. They're nothing like that. So, or if they're last on the test, they probably struggling on the test. And more times than not, if I don't have any information about you, you're taking the test, you're last to finish, more like you're probably going to fail at least one of those events, one of those tests. If you always finish in last, I'll say a good 85% of the time, if you're finishing last on tests and something, you're going to fail at least one of them. You're going to be hated a lot, disliked a lot for being last and stuff like that, because you're going to be holding up people's time. People going to be waiting for you, and they want to kind of take their shower and do it, because people got to wait till you finish. So I'm already going to consider you a weak OCS candidate, or OC candidate anyway, so you're going to be more likely slotted at the back end more than the middle. The next thing is, don't be loud. What I mean by loud is not necessarily you yelling or you screaming and stuff like that. Sometimes when you in OCS, you're going to be very gray area, stuff like that. So whether it's going to be intentionally or purposely, I'll give an easy example. Say, for example, if we're on the interstate, right, and the speed limit is 75. Everybody's driving 85 miles an hour, but you're the only one driving 108. You're going to stand, even though people are kind of breaking rules or going against the principles, you stand out as far as the rule breaking. You don't want to be that center of attention as far as on that gray area boundary. Even if you're in the right, you don't want to be too far off. So a situation with my roommate, he had a situation where for small reason, he had bought a book bag, right? It was like with camelbacks. So it was different shade and different color than the standard issue camelback that you got. So it was like bright green or something like that, like different type of camo. So he was still wearing it, and people all the time would see him. He'd be like, "What is that? Like, why are you wearing that?" He's just doing too much. Like it was always some type of hate against him on stuff that he did. And even though it was a regulation, like when you go on the I think I forgot what website it was, it show you the regulation stuff that you can buy. It was actually in regulation, but it was so like distinguishy, like a different style, that it made it look bad in comparison to everybody else. So sometimes people can be hating, but this is another one people was hating on too. Like say for instance him again, or religious services, right? So he actually had a religion service that was not in the SOP. So they actually made a SOP just to accommodate his religion. So it was kind of bad because he was the only one in black phase. It's certain phases. It's gonna be black, blue, and white. Black phase, you're like very restricted. It's almost like boot camp for the most part. You can't do anything. So he was the only one authorized to wear civilians and also drive a POV to go to religious services. And when I say everybody hated him for that, everybody hated him. It was so bad. They was speaking. I remember one conversation one person had was like, Army is priority, religion is on the back burner. You're going to have to do the military duties first. And you shouldn't be having to get a POV that's to go praise their religion and stuff like that. You shouldn't even, like, if you ain't taking this serious, you need to go home. And it got real, like, confrontational in some instances with him, like, him just for serving his religious practices, because he's the only one that got the accommodations as opposed to everybody else. So I would say this personally, there's nothing wrong with getting accommodations, being loud in that regards, but I would say kind of keep it to yourself. But if it's something that loud and obnoxious, because he kind of was mentioning it out there a little bit here and there, people became very envious and very vindictive to him and stuff like that. So it ended up making it harder than it was, because he probably got those privileges and nobody probably would have known, or just kind of seen him in the civilians and just kind of raised eyebrow like, why are you in civilians? And he never really explained it. He probably would have got away with it for the first 3 weeks, and then Blueface would have hit and everybody got their civilian POVs, and nobody probably would have said nothing. But sometimes it's kind of hard, because my cadre and Charlie Company actually put me on Front Street for trying to accuse me of like skipping out on, skipping out on PT and stuff like that, even though I had like one of the highest scores on my ACFT. So but instead of illustrating that, he was trying to use that as a way for me to not say I can't go, say I'm trying to avoid something, try to get me a spot report for POI, even though I was actually injured. I get shin splints, I had a black leg sleeve, and that's authorized, but he was mad that I was the only one doing this. If you're in leadership, don't do anything too crazy. Oh, actually, no, I'm gonna skip that. Don't be lost. And what I mean by lost, don't be the one that's losing paperwork. Don't be one out of losing your ascot, your uniform, your pins and stuff like that. Because, like you said, it's gonna be shown that you're irresponsible. Don't really take the process seriously. And again, if I have limited information about you and stuff like that, you're going to be put on the last in the peer evaluations and stuff like that, and people are going to really resent you because you information, you realize, oh man, I forgot my cat card, oh man, I forgot my this, and you have to run upstairs, and you kind of like, people ready to go march the chow, and you got to run up and come back down. So it's many other factors that you can be very disliked, but those are like the main reasons why. You can still maneuver through if you're a strong candidate, but I can guarantee you, once peer evaluations start coming around, you're going to be doing a lot of politicking at the back end, trying to be friends with everybody, trying to see, hey man, make sure you vote for me because you got to vote for me, man. You see how she kind of do this or he kind of do this. So like, people like on the week of the peer evaluation, the people that like in fear of not being voted last, they're going to be doing a lot of politicking, like to make sure they're not slotted last on the votes and stuff like that. You're going to be like, there's going to be some real Joe Bidens and Donald Trumps at OCS and stuff like that. So I just be real mindful. This kind of save you the headache of having to have to talk to everybody in the squad, trying to make sure they don't vote you last. So just be respectful and stuff like that. Do what you got to do. Stay on time. Right place, right time, right uniform, and try not to be, you can stand out but not stand out too much and stuff like that. So let me know what you guys think, man. Hit the subscribe button and I'm out. Go.